So I thought I'd try and incorporate some of my childhood stuff onto my current model railway. The Hornby-Dublo by Meccano signal box is the thing we're going to tackle. Now the colour scheme on this thing, as it was produced, is not the greatest, and it sticks out like a sore thumb when placed raw onto the railway. So this one's going to be more of a painting challenge. And after drilling out the rivets and breaking the box down into its 3 component parts, I chucked it all into my vat of isopropyl alcohol, thinking this paint will just fall off. It didn't, and I really did consider calling this video "How Rubbish is Modern Paint Stripper?" I spent a small fortune on 4 different types of paint stripper. I'll leave links in the description to these ones that I did buy. They may well be good for other projects, but for this project they turned out to be in order: not very good, not very good, mediocre, and acceptable. The last one that was on the screen did the most work. It took off the orange of the roof quite well, but the beige of the body was a real struggle. Eventually, after a lot of hard work, I managed to get all of the paint off and ended up with a really nice model in whatever metal this is. And because it's bare metal, I decided that it would probably be best to prime it. I did consider the MIG ammo one-shot primers, but opted for Halford's Grey. Before moving on to painting proper, I decided to construct some internals: a floor, a base, and some internal walls that separated all of the different window sections. It all seemed to work out really quite well. I made all of these pieces out of my favourite medium, which is styrene sheet. From the offcuts of those styrene sheets, I made all of the other internals. I decided on a panel rather than levers for this one, and gauged everything off of a spare figure. I know a few signalmen, and they were a bit upset with me in my last signal box video when I didn't make them some home comforts. So in this one, I've created a desk, a chair, and a nice comfy armchair. Also in my last signal box video, many of you commented that I should have put lights in it, and I should have known better and done that before anybody said so. So in this one, I'm going over the top by putting lights in everything. I built the colours up on the internals by first using grey primer, and then with the body on, I noted everything that couldn't be seen and then painted that black. Brown for the floor, because literally everything in commercial buildings way back in the 60s and 70s was brown linoleum. And the panel I painted a light green on clear perspex. Put a light in it so that it would shine through in the dark. Happy with its proposed location on the layout, I then created another sub-base because I thought it would be nice for it to sit on a concrete pad. The concrete was finished in the same way as I did for the fuel point in a couple of videos ago. Wiring fed through a hole drilled in the baseboard to a spare part on the control panel, connected to the 12-volt DC circuit, ready for testing. I'm going to say that everything up until this point was going okay. And then I hit upon a problem, and that was colour for the main body of this project. Now, I openly admit that I am not colour blind because, you know, my day job and all that, but I am colour uncoordinated, which is why this project sat around since just after Christmas in a forlorn, forgotten state until I just had to bite the bullet and do something. Paint it a colour. This problem exaggerated itself because not only did I not know what colour to paint it, I didn't know what finish I wanted to have on the rest of it as well. So I was completely lost. And then I discovered blue. pure blue. All that I had painted white was now blue. And then I struggled with greys, beiges, and anything in between, because I still had no solid plan of what I wanted this thing to look like. But I did know that I didn't want it to resemble what it looked like originally in its beige and orange colour scheme. So I tried all sorts of things, painting the textured part of the body grey, and then beige, and then the opposite way round, and then white, and I just couldn't work out what it needed to be. So while we watch my trials and tribulations with colour and colour matching, I thought I might go into just a little bit of where this model come from. Produced in the late 60s to the mid 1970s, when it was under the Hornby-Dublo Triang Meccano umbrella. As for a prototype of where this thing came from, many online discussions seem to suggest that it's a combination of many things. A lot of people seem to think it resembles the Art Deco glasshouse style signal boxes of the southern region. The texture and finish seems to suggest influences from ARP designs of the World War II era. The angled ends are reminiscent of LNER Type 15 signal box design. The general overall appearance is very, very close to British Railways Midland region Type 15 signal boxes as well, which to me almost suggests this is the perfect model. It can be literally anything you want it to be. Any era, any colour, any region. Because of its metal 3-part construction, it's virtually indestructible. On eBay, they sell for between £15 to £20. You can pick them up at car boot sales for virtually nothing. They are widely available. So I was just toying with the idea of making the bottom section out of brick, utilising some super quick brick paper. That was the idea I finished up agreeing with myself on. I glued it on, didn't film it, and then I moved on to some glazing. Nice and easy, stick it on the inside, and then finish the outside off with a little bit of beading using some 20 by 30 thou plastic strip evergreen. And I think that makes it look quite nice actually. The angled windows on the bottom section caused me a little bit of problem, but I just put a window bar on the angled part and it looked okay in the end. Putting it back together is really quite simple. I didn't bother doing anything with the rivets. All I did was put 4 dobs of super glue on each corner and it stuck really well. At this stage, I was surprisingly happy with the way it looked, although I did want to go further and put it in a little bit of distress. So I hit it with my favourite pigments, weathering powders, mostly on the stairs and the lower half of the outsides. And because of our godlike complex, looking down upon model railways, the roof is the thing that we see most of. So I think it's quite important to make that a little bit more visually interesting. Along with the blotchy not black that I used to paint it with, I've now gone over it with some rusty brown weathering powders and then some lighter concrete shades just to give it some highlights, and then black to tone it all down again. With this whole distressing weathering thing, I think many people have noted that it's really easy to go too far, and I think I managed to stop myself just in time. Before we go for installation onto the layout, I'm going to pick out another signalman to go inside. Now, in my last signal box video, I copped quite a lot of flack from my friend Dan, the signalman, by calling him portly. I was being kind. So this time we're going to choose an average man in an average life. Hey, hell, he pays the price. He's got that feeling somebody's watching him. So we're about to hermetically seal another body into his forever home, and I just remembered that I took some video of the lights in the dark, and I really like the way that the panels lit up. Excellent. You may have noticed that I didn't put a name on the side. That's not because I forgot, it's because it's another one of those things I couldn't work out what to call it. Suggestions, anybody? That's just about it for this one, which leaves me to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.